Hi, Zeus here. I want to show you the video of global number 35 in one session taking out global number 1, global number 2, and global number 4 using a Bullit Taunt Grappler Freeze attack that's flawless. And this player, Pizza Mandolino, or Arturo, as we know him in the Red Hot Legends Task Force, is only using 5 boosted offensive statue. So first I'm going to show you Arturo's attack on global number 1. Now global number 1, as we've discussed in other videos, is a Chinese player by the name of M. And he's been global number 1 for over a month now. He's very talented, and he was actually a member of Red Hot Legends for a while. And shortly after he left to go back to one of his Chinese task forces, he populated on Arturo's map, and Arturo crushed him using the Bullit Taunt Grappler technique. And you're going to see that in just a second what happens. So the grappler starts grabbing Scorchers and Bullet, and you immediately anticipate that by throwing down smoke. And you want to get about 4 or 5 underneath the smoke. And then when the smoke clears, you've triggered Taunt. And everything back there is focused now on your Bullet, and the Bombardiers and the Scorchers that remain in the front can clean up everything. Now he threw down a shock because he was nervous that shock blaster wasn't taunted and would wipe out his Bombardiers, which was a great anticipation. And he's also got some Cryoneers here slowing down the defenses, which are not taunted. And he threw down another shock there because he's trying to make sure that the shock launcher does not slow down his Scorchers in the back. One thing that you got to be careful when you got a mass of Scorchers is to not let them get shocked. So Arturo's Scorchers are just wreaking havoc in the back of M's base here. And meanwhile, the Bombardiers are just pounding away. Now, he's got to the point where he can flare onto that rocket launcher, which is really, along with the shock launcher, are the last things that can threaten his destruction of this base. Now, at this point, usually, because there's nothing that can threaten your troops if they pull over to the left side of the core, you would do a flare over there, but he's so thoroughly beaten this base, and he's got so many Scorchers still up, and even his Bullet is still up, that he's just going to go for the total destruction of the base here. And he clears a whole bunch more stuff over on the right, and then he finally flares back to the core and finishes off the total destruction of the base. Alright, so global number 1 goes down, and Arturo has thoroughly beaten it. Okay, the next attack by Arturo that I want to show you is his destruction of global number 3. And it's a similar kind of a base. He's got 9 boosted ice on the defense. And again, he lands his Bullet, and he uses Taunt this time while he destroys the mortar and the flamethrower that are there. Now he does have a shock launcher there, and he's got to be careful about the shock launcher trapping his Bullet and not being able to move forward. So he did throw down a shock on that shock launcher. And as his troops are moving forward, he's going to have them come in range of the grappler. And again, he throws down a smoke, beautifully timed. 2 grapplers are under the smoke now. 3 grapplers. By the way, he does have that shock blaster also shocked there. 4, 5, and now it grabs his Bullet, and he hits Taunt, and off they go. So at this point, he's just wreaking havoc on the backside of the base. Everything is distracted there, with few exceptions towards the back, and his troops are taking out everything in the front of the base. Threw down a shock there to make sure the shock launcher and the rocket launcher didn't damage his Bombardiers. And meanwhile, he's just slicing through the backside of the base. And there's hardly anything left there at this point. His bullet is still alive, although on its last legs, and now it goes down. So there's only that rocket launcher there and the boom cannon that he needs to worry about, and the shock blaster, which has a very low health at this point. So the boom cannon, the shock blaster, and the shock launcher all go down. Now he flares away, and even while he's flaring away, one of the Scorchers is destroyed, and he's only got one Scorcher left at this point. But again, there's nothing in range of his troops, and this base is beat. So again, global number 3 goes down. Now again, I want to emphasize that this is one map clearing session that Arturo's doing, right? One. And in the same session, he's also got global number 4. And I'm going to show you his destruction of global number 4. Now, the global number 4's base is again similar, but it makes sense for him to attack it this side from the right side because the grappler is slightly to the left of the rear of the core. And again, he taunts to protect his bullet while he's taking down the flamethrower and the mortar and that boom cannon. He throws down a shock on the shock blaster and the shock launcher so that it doesn't impede the forward movement of his bullet. And he's now put in play his Scorchers and his Crying Ears. And the timing of that is really important so that the bullet gets grabbed as the Scorchers are being grabbed, right? And at this point, he's had a bunch of Scorchers grabbed, and his bullet is not yet grabbed. And there goes bullet. So now he can trigger the taunt attack, and he's off. And notice he shocks the shock blaster that's back there, so that it doesn't slow down the Scorcher's destruction of the grappler. The timing of when you put in your Scorchers and the Crying Ears is really critical. If you do it a little bit too soon, you have a disaster on your hands. If you do it a little bit too late, you have a disaster on your hands. And in this case, the grappler was still going until just then, right? So it took a long time to take that grappler down. It had a lot of health. He's now going about methodically destroying all the rest of the defenses back there, but again, he's putting shocks down as he has the ability to on that shock blaster, because that's the one thing that can really stop his Scorchers dead. Now he flares to the shock blaster to take it out, and at this point he's got to worry about that rocket launcher on the left and the rocket launcher on the right, and those are really the only two items that can really hurt him. So he flares that rocket launcher on the right and takes it out, and then he comes all the way back to the far right side and he farms some gunboat energy here. And he has to throw down a health pack to help his bombardiers because they were being attacked by the last rocket launcher. You can see that rocket launcher could be a really big problem if you don't have, at this point, still some Scorchers or your bullet still alive. But he does, and meanwhile, he's now taken down the shield, and this base is beaten. So again, in one map clearing session, Arturo, who I think is one of the most highly skilled people in Boom Beach, has taken down global number 3, global number 4, global number 1, all in one session. Fantastic. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Take a look around our channel. We've got over 130 videos of all kinds of great Boom Beach content. And if you like this video, please give it a like. That'll really help out our channel. And thanks as always to Hercules for help with the video editing.